What's up, folks? Of course, Tuesday night, normally we save it for the audio version of our show, but tonight we have a special guest from Green Legion Radio. Personality Diaz will be talking NBA playoffs with us, primarily the Sixers, as we'll go around the league as well. We'll get to see who he believes will move on to their division finals, their conference finals, and then who may possibly even make the NBA finals. So Diaz is waiting. I can see him in the green room, and I appreciate him coming on with us tonight. We're planning on having a lot of fun here on episode 51, and we hope, before I get everything else started here, boy, do I hope that everyone went out and voted for Carlos Vega for safety reform for safer streets. Man, I hope everybody did the right thing and went out there and voted for Vega, as we did our part as much as we could to help him out. So we'll see about an hour from now as the numbers start coming in how well he ended up doing. So again, thank you for everyone who went out to vote for Vega. It is episode 51. We're planning on having some fun tonight. So with all that being said, I will scroll back down here just a little bit. I am Angel. This is Broad Street South. And two big things before we get the show underway here. One is the official sponsor of Broad Street South, which is Fans of Philly, fansofphilly.com. If you guys are looking to travel anywhere with the Eagles this season, with the schedule already coming out, Vegas apparently is completely booked and sold out. Of course, EDC is there that same weekend, so that might be the reasons why a lot of rooms are going bye-bye. So if you didn't get your tickets in, well, hopefully you make some other arrangements to get in there. But again, fansofphilly.com. If you guys are looking to book for Denver, out to the Carolinas, and anywhere else, go to fansofphilly.com, and you can reach Joe at fansofphilly.com on his email, and also you can call him at 610-517-7171, 610-517-7171. And along with that as well, we like to introduce our new partnership with Goose's Monte Cristo Lounge and Tobacconist. This is a great partnership that we will have guys in studio, and I'm hoping to make it up there for the home opener. Good Lord, if I get the marbles out of my mouth, for the first home opener back home in Limerick, so I can be live in the studio, and I'll have a shot for you guys later. Matter of fact, I have a shot right here now that they just sent it to me. So that will be the live in studio that will have about 35 people that you're able to. So if you want to smoke your stogie and come out, check out the show, that will be the live studio. So with all that stuff being said, we are pumped tonight to have on Diaz. I also have on my guys that we can't do the show without. This is Sherman, our sports contributor. Sherman, what's going on tonight?
Good evening, Angel. Good evening to everybody. Happy Tuesday. I hope that everybody is doing well. The Phillies are back home after a road trip playing the Florida Marlins. Hopefully Zach Wheeler can get us a win. Looks like the Eagles made a trade with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and NBA playoffs technically start tonight with the play-in game. So let's get it started.
Yes, sir. And the other two guys that we get here, or at least that we're going to have on here, one is being our beat writer, Nick Lisi. Nick, how are you this evening?
I said, I'm doing all right. We're in a new location today, and I can't wait to talk a little Philadelphia 76ers and how they're going to lose to the Brooklyn Nets in the conference finals. So
it's not happening. Diaz is going to back me up on that one because that's not happening. But it's okay. Everybody has hopes and dreams, except for yours going to be turned out in the first end of that bubble. So it's all right, buddy. We get it. Also, our national correspondent, Ryan Neff. Ryan, how are you this evening?
I'm Ryan Neff. It's great to be with you this evening. But anyway, it's fantastic to be on tonight, talking Sixers playoffs, see what happens. Can all three of the major ones, can Harris and Embiid, and I'm going to forget the other, Harris, Embiid, and Ben Simmons, can they all stay healthy together, just like Brooklyn's big three, Nicholas? See if all three of them can stay healthy throughout the playoffs. There's some people already saying that there might be a surprise in the Eastern Conference playoffs this year, but again, you just never know, so we'll see what happens. Now we're getting into the crux of the season. Phillies are in full swing, Sixers playoffs, everything's starting to take shape, rolling into the summer. Let's do it.
That indeed. And as this screen comes up here, and this is for the Green Legion. Now, I will say again, fans of Philly, please, as we have Diaz on here, Diaz, who belongs to the Green Legion, and you guys want to take a trip with the Green Legion as well, as they post on their Twitter site, Green Legion Radio on Fox Sports, the Gambler and #1 travel club of the Philadelphia Eagles, specializing in the best trip packages, tailgates, and they're also on Instagram on Green Legion. And with that being said, the man of the hour, we have Mr. Diaz, the man from Green Legion Radio. Diaz, how are you this evening?
I'm doing okay. I didn't, and I apologize, Angel. I was going to say Nhl, but if it's Angel, whatever you want.
That works.
I've got a Colombian father, so I thought, we have one of the tribe here together with us, so it's
that works.
Yeah.
Diaz, we know, obviously, thank you again for taking the time tonight. I know we kind of put this together real quick, but we do appreciate it because I know you guys are constantly busy. You're always taping. You guys have great quality shows all the time. I know Tank and Quimby are on Monday night, if I remember correctly. It was just yesterday when they were on. So
yep.
Tons of stuff always going on with Green Legion Radio and Green Legions. You guys, again, if you want to follow the Green Legion just as much as I do, go to Twitter, follow them. You can also go to their website at greenlegion.com and look for all the packages they have together for the Green Legion. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you're making your way out there, Diaz, this out for Vegas, but I know with fans of Philly is sold out. I don't know what it looks like as far as Green Legion.
Well, we'll take whoever wants to come. We go the whole way. So, I mean, we've got rooms booked, but I mean, the people that waited, we had a bunch of early birds deposits. So we're working through all of them first. And then we'll take whoever wants to come. So there we go.
Yeah. Chris already chiming in with the whitest Spanish guy ever. Chris, how's it going? Thank you, Chris, for the comment as well. And it's a lot of fun listening with Chris and those guys over at the Bud Light Baseball Brunch. They put on one heck of a show on Sundays. And I know Murph goes on afterwards for the pregame show, but that's like the pregame to the pregame, and it's a lot of fun. And we lost Diaz here momentarily.
Yeah, I think he's having some technical difficulties.
And I think Ryan is too, because Ryan keeps jumping out. So we'll get him back here momentarily.
Yeah, I don't know if the fans want to see my face on here right now as opposed to an esteemed guest on the program, but I know that Diaz had talked about some technical difficulties in the chat. So I don't know if he's going to be able to make it back. We're hoping that he can, but if he's not, hopefully he'll be able to come on for another show.
Well, we'll put then Sherman on the spotlight, since Sherman's never really gotten the spotlight. And by the way, if you remember, just a couple of, months now, I can't say a couple of shows, the one night that we had, as Chris chimes in and says, any face is better than the Diaz face.
Listen, I once came in third place in a Wile E. Coyote lookalike contest, so,
Hey, that's right. It works. And listen, and by the way, in case anyone knows any difference now, because the sun is obviously still out here in Tampa, you will see the partial illumination of the sun coming in through Broad. So the studio lighting, because of the big, enormous studio window I have here, you'll see more sun coming in. But also, since it's playoff time, I didn't primarily shave for the show this evening because Flyers are normally the bearded bunch, but because the Flyers didn't make it, I figured I'd do it for the Sixers, at least for one game prior to the game coming on. So everyone out there, I know it's getting warm, but it's never too late to put on a playoff beard. Even if it's a little peach fuzz, put it on because it is playoff time in Philadelphia. And Sherman, we talked about as hopefully we get Chris back on here. You were mentioning that the Phillies are back home. And I know it was a rough outing in Toronto, even though it was a lot of fun to see him in Dunedin, Florida this past weekend when we had the opportunity of going down there on Friday night. But looks like him and Gene Segura, or, the general man or the manager, and Gene Segura had patched things up a little bit. It wasn't discussed too much on what was said, but I'd imagine it was probably a little bit of a heat debate in the dugout there, since the Phillies were pretty much getting shellacked at the time. So, but it's good to see that Gene Segura and the Phillies are back home, and we hope for better things, maybe with some good home cooked meals. We can see a better outcome with the Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely be the hope. They're playing their NL East rival in the Miami Marlins for the first time this year. And don't let the record of the Marlins fool you. Anytime division foes face each other, you can't expect to win all 18 or 19 of the games that they play against each other all year. And it feels like the Miami Marlins have just been a thorn in the Phillies' side over the last couple of years. And look, the Marlins don't have Sixto Sanchez in their rotation right now, but he will be back at some point in June. But hopefully being able to play in front of the home fans, even if it's not a full crowd at this point, will be the magic elixir that the Phillies need to get back on the winning track. Hopefully next time Nola starts at home, I think at that point it'll be against the Boston Red Sox. Hopefully he'll get it together because his last outing in Dunedin, Florida against the Toronto Blue Jays was not the best. But one of the most promising things that I'll bring up is Vince Velasquez. He's now pitched in 3 straight games where he's gone over 5 innings, which isn't the greatest feat in the world, but he's only given up 1 run in each of those 3 games. And if he could develop into a legitimate number 4 for this team, then that's one piece of the puzzle that the Phillies need to be competitive in this NL East.
No, listen, I agree. I think for the Phillies, I mean, again, it's early still in the season. We're not even at the All-Star break moment at this point here. So there's a lot of things that can happen with this team. I think the Phillies have made bigger strides, at least at what I thought at the beginning of the season when we were talking about just preseason baseball in spring training. But for me, I thought the Phillies were going to be about a 3rd, 4th place team at best. And it's nice to see them keep the competition level going for first place. So we know that we've seen in years past where the Phillies have always kind of did the backwards thing. They've gotten hot early, have gotten really bad late. I hope that this year it turns out to be the polar opposite. I'd rather have them go bad now and do like the St. Louis Cardinals, what they do every single year is they can be up to 20 games back and somehow or another they fight, claw their way to get back up there in first place. So Phillies are doing good things. I don't foresee at least anything bad coming out of that club. I know they're still trying to make some moves. I hear Scott Kingery. A lot of people are saying that they don't believe in him anymore. The funny part was, and I'm going to bring this up because it's a good slide intro into there, since Chris was making his comments earlier. When it comes to Chris and the baseball brunch, the Bud Light baseball brunch, and those guys are on from 11 to 12 on Sundays. Catch the show. It's a lot of fun. And they were talking about this weekend. It was funny because as I take everybody back here, the funny part was this weekend, as they were talking, Chris had a promotion from King of Prussia. I think it's like one of the restaurants that are up there, which is one of the sponsors they have for the show. Or matter of fact, it was a hiring spree. And he plugged it in together with Scott Kingery if he was looking for a job to go to this dining restaurant at King of Prussia as a fun pun. But I don't know how everybody feels at this point when it comes to Scott Kingery. I know he wasn't expecting a lot as far as when it came to spring training. As we heard the reports, we have seen things that has not happened well with Scott, but I'm pretty sure maybe, I don't know if it's a new team that he may need to go to or send him all the way back down to Clearwater. I mean, if it starts with small ball and works his way back up, who knows? But I personally, I don't want to give up too much on Scott Kingery. So Sherman, I don't know how you feel. Well,
the Phillies signed Kingery for 6 years, $24 million. So the money's nothing to sneeze at. During the COVID-shortened season last year, Kingery, he was struggling to bat 100. And you could say, oh, maybe, did Scott Kingery actually have COVID? Who knows what was going on? But now this year, it just seems to be a continuation of the same thing. And he's not producing the way that the Phillies had hoped that he would produce. But, they have a player in Kingery where it's 6 years for $24 million. So it's going to be hard to just get rid of him. Similar to the Carson Wentz situation. There's so much money that was wrapped up in Carson Wentz. You don't want to take that hit with the amount of money that you're spending on a player. But the one good thing for the Phillies is that Archie Bradley, who was one of the players who they picked up in the offseason from the Arizona Diamondbacks, it looks like he has been taken off of the IL, and hopefully he'll give a shot in the arm to that bullpen to take a little bit of the pressure off of Hector Neris, Jose Alvarado, Brogdon, and the rest of the boys in the bullpen.
Listen, I hope so. And I will get back to, we're waiting, of course, for Diaz to come back from Green Legion Radio. I know he was having a little bit of technical difficulty, so we will get into some NBA talk here. So we're waiting to see for him to come back. But I did see a comment, and the comment comes from our partner over at Goose's Monte Cristo Lounge and Tobacconist. And John says, and Goose, as we like to call him here, he has to agree with Nick. I love the Sixers, but as long as Simmons refuses to shoot threes, teams just pack the defense in the lane and makes life difficult for Embiid, which is not good. And then he follows it right up with, Don't loathe the Sixers. I love them. So I fixed that one for you there, Goose. But thank you, Goose, for tuning in tonight. But listen, again, we know that the Nets and Nick, I will say this much. When it comes to your three powerhouse players there, they're now starting to hit the floor together. I don't know how long that love affair is going to last because we all know how Harden is. You're talking about three different personalities. One guy that they took away from LA that he brought over to New York, and he's his own personality. But Kyrie Irving and James Harden, I don't know, buddy, how you're feeling, but I would love to get your input when it comes to those three coming up here in the playoffs.
Well, look, I like the fit. They can all shoot, they can all pass, they can all dribble, which is nice. I think a lot of big threes in the past, you'd have guys who didn't have all those skill sets, or they'd only have two or three or one of the three. And with this big three, we got three guys who can shoot, pass, and dribble. So it's going to be nice. Harden, I think, is going to become a primary playmaker. We've seen it a little bit from him before his hamstring injury. Just his ability to feed the ball and his ability to find guys open even when they're not is ridiculous. And then Kyrie has had his best efficiency season ever. So he's shooting at an all-time high. And as long as Kevin Durant can stay healthy and all of them can stay healthy, this is going to be a dangerous team to come by in the playoffs.
Now, the irony in this, before I go over here to Ryan, but the irony with Nick tonight is what we hope for is what the Sixers are going to do, just like Nick is laying in his bed. That's the same thing we're going to do with his Brooklyn Nets. Just put him to bed and just take him out the playoffs. So I just figured out their little pun in there, Nick. Ryan, we know that obviously the NBA playoffs are here. We're hoping to have a lot of fun with the playoffs. It's nice to see the teams back home. I know the bubble experiment, and obviously it worked out for the Lakers, and great for them. But it's nice that the fans are able to finally be back in the stands, be back at home. Sixers, the road to the playoffs goes through Philadelphia over at the Wells, and I'm hoping that it will be great things for Doc Rivers. I got a couple of things that I want to show here with Doc Rivers. He's talking about Joel Embiid. The former Kansas head coach made a quote for Embiid as well. So I want to get your take on what do you think? Is it good for a team? And I know we see it in football. I know we see it in baseball. Is it good for the Sixers to have home court playoffs throughout?
I mean, I think when it comes to the Sixers, it's somewhat of an advantage. Home court in the NBA is not all it's cracked up to be as it was in years past. The thing that worries me about, the Sixers and the Nets sometimes is, Nick, did you see what Kyrie Irving said about him not being – where's his focus, Nick? I'm sure you saw the quote.
Life and social issues.
And what comes secondary?
Basketball.
Exactly. So he's not really too concerned about playing in the playoffs. His mind is somewhere else. And now you got the other two and with the Sixers, what concerns me, and I'm sorry I'm going to go on a tangent, but if I were the Sixers, I'd let somebody else go to the point. I'd let Embiid and Simmons work the boxes and do it that way. Because everybody is going to bitch, piss, and moan about Ben Simmons not being able to shoot. He's been in the league how long? And he still doesn't have a jump shot. And they're still talking about it. And it's still not going to make a damn bit of difference. So switch it up a little bit. Now, with all that being said, home court advantage just isn't all it's cracked up to be. I don't care what anybody else says. I have a feeling with Kyrie doing his thing again, because he did it earlier this year, Nick, and you know what I'm talking about. Then he got rededicated and refocused. Now he's back to that. Now with the Sixers, again, we've got home court advantage. We should be able to do X, Y, and Z. But can all three of them, Harris, Embiid, Simmons, just like with the Nets, can they all stay healthy together throughout the playoffs? Just like with the playoff game today, the play-in game. The Indiana Pacers are missing Karis LeVert because he's in protocol for COVID-19. It's a big piece of the puzzle they're missing. You just don't know what's going to happen in the midst of the pandemic, in the midst of everything else. Do fans make a difference at home? Yes. Do I think it's as big of a thing as it was in years past? No. And Sherman, and Angel, you know what I'm talking about. In years past, when you had the number 1 seed in the playoffs with all the fans and everything going your way, it was huge. The number 1 seed mattered. Nowadays, it's just not as big in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. The more and more I thought about it over the last couple of days with the way everything's going on, I'm just getting the feeling, and I've been wrong before. I've been known to be wrong. I just get the feeling that there's going to be somebody else from the East that's going to slide in there that people are going to be like, huh? That's where I think it's headed.
Who do you think it's going to be? Sorry.
You know what? The 1 year nobody expects Milwaukee to do anything, all those years they had the number 1 seed. They're going to make the NBA Finals. Guess what this year? Nobody's talking about them. The pressure's off. Wouldn't that be something if the 1 year that the pressure was off the Bucks, nobody's expecting them to make the NBA Finals, and they make it this year? Wouldn't that be something?
It seems to be a foregone conclusion that the Brooklyn Nets are going to beat the Milwaukee Bucks in that second round and ultimately play the Sixers in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals. But I think that the Brooklyn Bucks matchup will be a pretty good one. And look, Nick, you're 100% right that the big three of Harden, Durant, and Kyrie Irving, they're going to play well together. And they have the playoff experience. And that has to be taken into consideration. They know what it's like to be on the big stage. And I think that they'll show that in the playoffs. But, when you have a guy like Giannis for the Milwaukee Bucks, who's a very formidable player, I think a lot of people are writing the Milwaukee Bucks off right away. And I don't really think that it's fair to them. I think it's wide open. Even though the Sixers have earned the number 1 seed. I don't think that they're necessarily the team that's going to come out of the East in a real easy landslide, that's for sure. Watch out for a team like the Miami Heat. Not saying that they're going to win the championship and get to the finals. If you watch some of the previous shows that we've done on Broad Street South, and by the way, check us out on BroadStreetSouth.com, right? I have always said I hate taking the chalk. So you know what? I'm going to say it right now. The team that's going to go to the NBA Finals is the Miami Heat. There, I said it. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's going to be the Miami Heat.
And who would have thought that the Lakers, beginning of the season, would have to play a damn play-in game just to advance?
Absolutely insane. And my West prediction right now, I know we don't really talk about the West too much on here because we're talking about the Sixers and the Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets, but I'll make the prediction right now, and I'm not the biggest NBA fan in the world, so look, I am not an expert, but I'm making the prediction. It's going to be the Miami Heat and the Phoenix Suns. Miami Heat and the Phoenix Suns.
Whoa.
There you go. So we're going to have some Heat and Sun in the NBA Finals because it's going to be taking place in, July anyway, right? I'm writing it down right now. Heat versus the Suns. There you go. I can't go back.
I was going to bring up the playoff schedule, but good Lord, why even? That's it, folks. So the show's being wrapped up tonight. Thanks to Sherman. And what's Sherman's favorite line?
For
entertainment purposes only.
There you go.
For entertainment purposes only, of course.
There you go. So Goose says still pulling for the Sixers. Doc Rivers is a great coach, and with some breaks, Sixers can do. This town will erupt if they win. The championship. And listen. Goose, I agree. This town will go absolutely bananas. If we can pull it off, we thought that 2017 was a major party. Dear God, let the Sixers win. I'm pretty sure that blue wave, that good blue wave, will be going down Broad Street, having tons and tons of fun. So I'm hoping so. And Goose, just to make it known to you, okay. And I'm going to update you guys when it comes to Diaz, but. Goose, the one upstairs right above you here, the beat writer that belongs to the team, please don't hurt him too much. We've already put him to bed. He's put himself to bed, so don't worry about it. It's all good. But listen, to get an update from Diaz. Diaz apparently is having some technical difficulties. Unfortunately, he won't be on with us for the remainder of the show. He does apologize. We'll apologize for him as well for the technical difficulties. And it's a shame, but maybe we can get him on at another time on another show. So we'll see. Well, I'm pretty sure we'll end up making that happen. So,
hey, Angel, just
sir.
Real quick. I didn't forget, ladies. I'm still on my mission. See that guy over there, Ducky? The guy over here? I'm still on a mission. He's not a freshman anymore. He's available. He's really growing it in now. He's got the scruffy sophomore look.
There we go.
I'm still on a mission.
Neff, I appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it. But I want to go back to Sherm here. Heat versus Suns in the finals. So I'm shocked because I think the Lakers will beat the Suns in the first round. I don't think they match up well. But this playoffs is going to be crazy. And I guess speaking of the Lakers, I want to start with the play-in game. Do you guys like the play-in game? Yes or no?
Who would like to go first with this? Angel, go first with this.
Angel, you go first. Do you like the NBA play-in game?
I can take it or leave it. Not to me, it's almost you're starting to go with the wild card game when it comes to Major League Baseball. I understand that they're trying to. I will use it as the recuperation for COVID-19 last season to try to make it a little more interesting. I don't really think there needs to be a play-in game, but I understand the NBA is trying to be creative, like the NFL, Major League Baseball, and everyone else. So I can't say I'm a super fan of it whatsoever. I know watching the Raptors the other night as we had kind of a Toronto type weekend down here in Tampa. I know it was a slow start kind of for Indiana, but then the pace just pretty much energized and bolted past the Raptors. So for someone like, for Indiana, which again, this is where it's kind of 50-50 for me. If it got to the point where they had to play in and the way they played against Toronto last Sunday, then yeah, I can see where it would be beneficial to a team who was just on the outskirts. But still not a huge fan. But, someone can end up changing my mind here by the time the playoffs start. So we'll see, because tonight, I believe, is the first game. And what? The first one didn't start yet? I don't think it started at 8 o'clock, if I'm certain.
It's 69-45. Pacers are up at the half right now against the Charlotte Hornets. Hornets don't have Gordon Hayward tonight. And the Pacers, like Neff said earlier, they don't have Karis LeVert.
Now, if they play, I will say this much. If they played the way they played Sunday, Indiana could possibly go deep in the playoffs. And I'll tell you what, TJ McDonald, that kid, he was like, who's the one that just retired from the Patriots? Edelman.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Just like him all over the court, and to the point where he was just pissing off the Toronto defense. But I tell you what, that kid has tons and tons of heart. But if Indiana plays like they did on Sunday, watch out, because Indiana, they're Sherman, as you already made your prediction, a possibility they may end up going far.
Well, here's my opinion of the expanded NBA playoffs. So the NBA, actually, the marketing people have gotten something right here, because what it does is it keeps the teams in the 9 seed and the 10 seed. It keeps those fans interested for a longer period of time. And not only does it keep the 9 seed and 10 seed teams in check, it potentially keeps the fans of the 11 seed and the 12 seed in check as they're trying to get into that 9th and 10th spot for the play-in tournament. So the NBA, they kind of got it right with this. As to whether I like it, I don't. You have a season of 72 games. It's a long enough season to begin with. Once you get through 72 games, take the top 8 in each conference and just get on with it. That's my opinion. I get what the NBA is trying to do. It's definitely going to serve for entertainment purposes, for more fans, for a longer period of time. And look, if you're fighting to be the 10 seed and you're a game and a half out with 3 games to play, your fans are still going to have a rooting interest and watch the games. Whereas if that 11 seed was trying to get to the 8 seed, their season might have ended 3 weeks ago. But personally, I don't like it. I think it's a little bit too much just because the season is so long. Look, in baseball, you play 162 games for baseball. And by the time it's done, you only have a limited amount of teams in the playoffs. Do you think that this is something that could work in baseball if they decided to shorten the season to, say, 148 games and expand the field there?
Were you talking to me? Because I was offline just for a second.
Ryan, I'm just talking about the fact that I don't care for the NBA expanded playoffs. And the point that I brought up was, what if the Major League Baseball decided to do that? Shorten the season from 162 games to 148 and let more teams in the playoffs. It's too much with too much. 72 games, the top 8 in the East, the top 8 in the West. If you didn't make it and the fans are going to complain about it, maybe management should have gotten better players for the team. Maybe there shouldn't have been as much load management throughout the season. And, earn your way into the top 8 and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just old-fashioned. It doesn't make any sense. It's dumb. Everything I've read online and through other social media and through other like sports sites and stuff like that, like internally the players really don't like it. You play the damn season, you take the top 8, you play them off, you play the championship game. It's just another way for the NBA to try and tinker to keep other fan bases interested in stuff. No, you play the season, you earn your way in. It's the top 8. That's it. That's the end of it. And then that's just it. Just like with Major League Baseball, it was, and sure, you can go back as far as I can, so can Angel. You had 4 division winners. The 2 division winners played off. You played the ALCS. You played the NLCS. It was the World Series. Now this wild card team and that wild card team and this, that, and the other thing, just like with the NFL, 17th game, now only one team gets a bye, and these other teams play off it. I mean, if it's not, and I talk to Angel about this all the time, and I hate to make the reference here, NASCAR used to have such an amazing product, and it was such a booming sport, and they went and messed with it too much, and now nobody goes anymore because there's too much BS that goes on in the sport. And Angel can attest to it, because I know the two of you, Nick, sure, you don't really follow auto racing or whatnot all that much, but it's just no different. I just hate when it works and works and works and works and it's success and it continues to grow and it continues to get bigger and better. And then all of a sudden they say, oh, let's try this. And I'll never understand it till the day they stick me in the ground. I just don't get it. I just don't. Like with the NBA, just play the damn season. Keep it the way it is. And you know what? I'll piggyback off something Angel said. Before the season started, I called, like somebody said to me, who do you think is going to make the NBA playoffs this year? And I'm looking at all the data and all the analytics. And I said, you know what? Just for the hell of it, I'm going to say Denver, Indiana in the NBA Finals. And they're like, what? And I'm like, hey, everybody else is picking Brooklyn and LA, and you got Utah, and you got the Sixers. And I just said, you know what? Just to throw a cog in it, I'm just going to say Denver, Indiana, let the chips fall where they may. And if they so happen to make the NBA Finals, you can all call me up for entertainment purposes only and say that I was the one that gave you the advice that you want all that money.
All right. Well, listen, Nick, before I turn it over to you, there are 2 things that I want to do here. One is, since we're all having fun here for entertainment purposes only, well, I'm pretty sure someone will like that picture up there just before Nick, that framed picture, because as I get mentioned as John Staccato, I'll put up there for the remainder of the show so we can keep Nick company there. And also, as we get into the next half hour here of some NBA and Sixers talk, we would like to, of course, thank our new partners, which is Goose, John Geese over there at Goose's Monte Cristo Lounge and Tobacconist. This next half hour is brought to you by cigarsgoose.com. That's cigarsgoose.com. And, of course, I'm throwing the S in there, and it's not in there, but cigargoose.com. Any kind of flavor that you could possibly want that I see right in front of me, go to cigargoose.com. Monte Cristos, you name it. He's got vapes for you as well. So anything that you guys want, there's also a lounge in there as well. So not only can you buy the cigar, but you can also taste the cigar right there at the lounge. And we're hoping, and as I bring the other picture back up here, so I will get this one off. And where is my other one? So everyone can see here. Over at the studio, as you guys can see, Robert there in the background doing a phenomenal job getting the studio set up. The new studio lights went up. There's going to be another TV going up there. So it's going to be a fantastic time with 4 different camera angle views for when the guys get up there. And I will try my best, as I say today on air, to get up there for the home opener for the Eagles, because I'm dying to get inside the studio and see what's going on, having fun with the live audience. This is going to be fantastic. So, Goose, thank you very much for the opportunity with us. And it will be for entertainment purposes only when we get over there, because we plan to have a lot of fun. So, Nick, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. By all means, sir.
You're all good. So we're chatting a little bit NBA play-in. I like it just because it creates more entertainment. There's more storylines. There's now this idea of, the winner of Boston versus Washington. You want to face Boston because they're horrible. You don't want to face Washington because they're on fire right now. Right? And there's all these little storylines. But what I didn't like this year is that the 2 final games on Sunday that mattered, which was Washington versus Charlotte and Memphis versus Golden State, they would have mattered under the old system anyway. And I'm curious how much it actually affects the tanking in terms of teams wanting to get high lottery picks, because I don't think it really affected any games in terms of the tanking. So that was very interesting. But I'm going to ask you guys this: Philly, round 1, they're either going to get Boston. They're either going to get Boston, Washington, or at this rate, looking right now, Indiana. Who do you guys want to face in the first round if you're a Philadelphia 76er fan?
Sure.
You're going to ask me first, like the team who the Philadelphia 76ers want to play in the first round are the Boston Celtics. This is the team who they've had the rivalry with for years. This is a team that has knocked Embiid, Simmons, and the rest of the Sixers out of the playoffs for multiple years. Now the Sixers, they're bigger, they're better, they're stronger. They want to show the Boston Celtics and the rest of the country that they're for real, and they're going to take care of the bully that was beating up on them for so many years.
It's true. Joey B says the NBA playing is gimmicky. And speaking of Joey, and I know a lot of times you like to put in a lot of different comments, and we have fun with the comments. And sorry if a lot of times I can't insert them in as they end up rolling around. But at one point, it'd be fun to have Joey on the show, just as much as he loves to laugh and goof around and everything else. So Joey, you will be on an appearance here very, very shortly. And Joey comes back and says that Neff looking all cleaned up, got to grow the beard out for those KC tailgates.
Yes, my friend. I had to. When your cat starts licking stuff out of your beard to wake you up in the morning, it's time to trim it down.
Right. And listen, I would say so. And now that the sun is kind of going away here, the lights are starting to kind of glisten in the studio, as you can see still the sunlight above the Broad Street. And it's a beautiful studio window that I have out here. So and again, Tampa, which Philly, by the way, Philly's starting to finally thaw out. I saw the temperature on 6ABC. Very nice. It's finally starting to get there, starting to warm up. So, and it's not late July, like it seems like it takes forever every year. So very nice, just in time for Sixers playoff basketball. That's absolutely fantastic.
I'll say this about the Sixers, and who was it a couple of weeks ago? One of our guests had said, I think it was Joe DeCamera. The last, what was it, Sherm? 9 playoff games. The Sixers are 1-8 against the Boston Celtics. So
yeah.
Who in the hell do you think the Sixers want to play in the first round?
Absolutely, positive.
The Celtics are down a little bit. They had a great bubble run over the fall, but what if the Sixers have the most prime opportunity this year to lay it on the Celtics, and the city of Philadelphia would love nothing better than to tattoo that team from Boston and finally just say, aha, we did it this year. We crushed you. And hey, look, if you crush your main rivals from the past, what do you think that's going to do going forward for a team psyche through the rest of the playoffs? We finally beat the hell out of them. Now let's go get the chip.
So now, and I know, listen, we know that young Nick here does not smoke, he does not drink, any of that fun stuff. But I will say this much: if and only if the Sixers eliminate the Nets out of that one, we will gladly send them just a packed Goosey's Monte Cristo and lounge and tobacco and a cigar, just so he can hang up in his room and just say, darn it, I can't smoke it, but there it is for me to enjoy. So just remember that, Nick.
I will. I'll smoke it when I'm 21, when the Nets actually do beat the Sixers and win the chip. So
there you go.
Greatly appreciate it. I would greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Is anyone concerned about the layoff?
Not really.
No, not concerned about the layoff. I mean, so the play-in tournament is going to take a couple of days. So you're talking about a series, the NBA playoffs 1 through 8, that would normally start on like Wednesday or Thursday. And now the Sixers don't play their first home game until Sunday. So whether they play the Celtics, Washington, the Pacers, or the Hornets, there's definitely going to be some rust on the Sixers. I think over a 7-game series, right, the Sixers will ultimately win that series. But, you think of a 4-5 matchup, between the Knicks and the Hawks. Both of them might be rusty, and every game with two teams that are a little bit more competitive will count. So I don't like the fact that the Sixers have to wait a week until playing their first playoff game.
Sure, I've said this before when it comes to, when you get to the postseason, if you can't get yourself up to go win a championship, no matter what the stakes are, then you shouldn't be in the playoffs. So, we've seen it time and time again. Yeah, I understand your concern about the layoff, and we've seen it in year past. Sometimes when a team has a layoff and they get, they get bit. And I always point to, and I hate to bring it up, Philadelphia fans, but the year the Cowboys went 13-3, they got the bye. They were the best team other than New England because New England was undefeated that year. Remember, the Giants got hot. They made the playoffs as a wild card team, and they just got on that roll. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes layoffs can hurt a little bit, but, I've always said, watching years and years in sports, if you're watching a team and your team or whatever team, if you can't get up to go win a championship, you might as well just go home.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. If you're a player making 6 or 7 figures per year, and you want to win a championship, get up, forget about the layoff. But the harsh reality of it is that there is going to be this layoff. And, we've seen it so many times during the regular season where, teams have this layoff for a couple games and then they come out a little bit rusty. And for a team like the Sixers, who are not going to be playing a team as competitive, in the Celtics, the Wizards, the Pacers, or the Hornets, they might come out a little bit flat in that first game. So don't be shocked, Philadelphia, if that first game the Sixers win, say, 112-108, because that the city of Philadelphia and all their fans are going to be like, what in the world is going on? How can we beat an 8 seed only by 4 points in the first game? Well, talk about the fact that they might come out rusty in game number 1.
And I'll be honest with you, Sherm, the Celtics have had all season to turn it around a little bit to try and get back on track. I don't see them beating the Wizards tonight. I just don't.
They're the favorite. I think they're like a 3-point favorite tonight.
If Beal plays, and it's a question mark, if Beal and Westbrook are on the floor together tonight, the Boston Celtics are not going to win the game.
But even if the Celtics don't win that game, so that would mean that the Celtics would have another chance, right? Are the Celtics the 9-10 or the Celtics or the 7-8? Correct?
Celtics was 7-8.
So even if the Celtics lose tonight, thank you for putting that up on the screen. So even if the Celtics lose tonight, they'll have an opportunity to play against Indiana or Charlotte, and it looks like Indiana's winning pretty big tonight. So they're going to get 2 chances to try to get that 8 seed, and I think that they'll find a way to do that, even even if they don't beat Washington tonight.
I think the Celtics are they're out of it. I think they want their season to end badly. Just Jaylen Brown's out for the year. Kemba's been up and down all year long. Marcus Smart's been quite horrible. And Tatum, he had COVID earlier in the year. He's been on the asthma. He's been doing all that kind of stuff. So he's been on the inhaler and stuff like that. So I personally think the Celtics, they're going to try to end their season. Good. It was a good shot by them. I think they learned that they got a lot worse, and they needed to be more aggressive back when some of these stars were available. But I mean, for the Sixers, I feel like they got an amazing draw here in the bracket. They're going to have multiple layoffs. I think they're going to sweep whoever they play round one. And I think the Knicks-Hawks series is going to be a really, really good series. So they might end up getting quite a few layups before they have to go to the conference finals.
The only thing with the Sixers, other than, Sherman and Angel, you guys are used to this over the last 3-4 years. And Embiid, now Harris is the lesser of the three injury-wise, but Embiid or Simmons just have a propensity for getting hurt. And I think that's every Sixers' major concern going into the playoffs. What if one or the other gets – because you know what they're going to do. If one or the other gets hurt, guys, you know how Philly fans are. It's over. It's done. We're finished. You might as well just bag it now. You can just tank it. And that's been my concern with this team the last couple of years is when the three of them are healthy, finally, guess what always happens a couple games later? And if they stay healthy, man, I give them a real good shot to get to the NBA championship. But and again, just like with the Nets, Nick, Harden coming back, you don't know how long it's going to take him to get back into game shape. Kyrie's off on his thing again about, we are the world, and, he's worried about all that and X, Y, and Z. And, the only one that's focused on really, Harden he wants to win another chip somehow, some way. He wants to be able to say, yeah, I went to Golden State and then I came over here. I like to be able to win a chip here as well. So it's just all going to depend about. I am a big proponent of, seeing in the past teams going into the playoffs it doesn't even matter if they're on a winning streak. Just be healthy. Everybody's in shape. When you're healthy, you have depth. You can rely on other people, but you can be the greatest team in the world going into the playoffs. But if there's always that injury concern, there's always the injury concern, and that's what always gets me. You see it in the NBA, you see it in the NFL, you see it in the NHL. Sherm, I don't have to tell you. In hockey, if your goaltender is standing on his head all season and then he gets hurt and then he's got to sit out the first 3 weeks of the playoffs, you know what's going to happen. So, yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how it's just been a weird year, man. A weird year. Just like I said before, about 5 minutes ago, if somebody would have told me that the Lakers would have to a play-in round, just to defend their title, it's just so weird. It just really is.
I want to bring up a comment here. I know we talked about it earlier momentarily as far as some Major League Baseball. And Dark Sage 9117, thank you for making the comment, and I hope you're still tuned in so you can hear the reply. But Dark Sage says that this is not meant to put down anyone, but I feel the Cardinals are always overlooked in baseball. I know people are tired of seeing St. Louis at the top of the NL Central, but in recent years, it seems that the Dodgers, Padres, Braves, and other teams have been highlighted and given their respect, and the Cardinals have always seemed to be overlooked. I feel this team is a World Series contender this year, and I believe we have the ever record in the National League, which I'm assuming probably would have been the best record in the National League, what he wanted to say there. So, Dark Sage, if you're male or female, thank you so much for the comment. And listen, me personally, I will say this much. I love when St. Louis is in there. And again, I don't say it because of the comment you put in there. And I always tell it to my producer all the time because the Cardinals always find a way, no matter which way you look at it. And you're right as far as when it comes to the Braves and Dodgers and, the Padres. But the Cardinals have always found a way to come back, get in it, and win it. And yeah, it could be, if you want to describe it, it's just like the Bulls. Look at the Bulls back in the 80s, 90s. When you're looking at them, they ran the table. And that's what the Cardinals have done for many, many years. And could the Cardinals get back there this year? I believe so. But I do like what the Cardinals end up doing is they're always in it. No matter what, you can never count out St. Louis. And matter of fact, I can almost say They could be down 31 games, and St. Louis always finds a way to come back. So, Sherman, I don't know how you feel as far as comment, but at least that's my take when it comes to the Cardinals.
The St. Louis Cardinals are certainly not overlooked in my book. In the offseason, they picked up Nolan Arenado for practically nothing from the Colorado Rockies. They always find a way to be competitive in that NL Central division. Maybe the mass media out there talks a little bit more about the Los Angeles Dodgers and Mookie Betts and, Tatis and all the additions that the San Diego Padres made. But, yeah, the St. Louis Cardinals, they should be competitive in that NL Central, and they should be in the playoffs this year as well. One of the things, looking back at it now as a 47-year-old, one of the things that I really respect about the St. Louis Cardinals is the following. In the 80s, they found ways to manufacture runs. When Willie McGee got on first base, when Vince Coleman got on first base, when Ozzie Smith got on first base, you might as well have put him on second or third base, and you knew that run was coming home. Because Whitey Herzog, the manager of the Cardinals, he found a way to have the Cardinals play fundamental baseball. And they were so good for so many years. And it's unfortunate because in this day with baseball, everybody's swinging for the home run. And I really wish that teams would learn how to manufacture runs. Yeah, I know it's not the sexy thing to have a guy single or walk in the first inning, steal second, ground out to second base, and score in a sacrifice fly. But you know what? You do that enough times in the game, you're going to have more runs and you're going to win more games. I really wish that the Phillies would do that. I don't know how many people are overlooking the Cardinals. Nick and Ryan, you can chime in a minute, but I'm certainly not overlooking the Cardinals. They got Goldschmidt at first. They got Arenado at second. They're competitive in the Central year in and year out, and I look for them to be in the thick of things as they get towards October.
I yield the floor to my adopted radio personality, son Nick Lisi.
Well, I know someone in here picked the Cardinals to go to the World Series this season. I think his name is Ryan Neff. I know he picked the Cards, but hey, look, they got a good team. They got some great pitching. Flaherty's doing his thing, and Nolan Arenado's been having a great year. But I think they're still worried because the Dodgers are the Dodgers, and they have way too many good players, and they have so much talent on that team. But I'm excited to see what they can do coming up in this postseason. I think they look scary, even though they did get swept by the Padres in their last series. But I'm excited to see what they can do, and I'm excited to see if they can make some noise in these playoffs this year.
Hey, look, with the Cardinals organization, we all know the Yankees have 27 World Series titles?
Yep.
Yeah, but
do you know who's second on the list in World Series titles?
The Cardinals.
Exactly. So it's called consistency. It's called bringing in players tailored to your system, tailored to what that manager wants. Management listens, and they bring in – look, if the manager comes in and the manager says, these are the types of players I'm looking for, this is what's going to work, and if it's a manager that's had success before, that's what the Cardinals have always done. And, Sherm, you can attest to this. Even when the Cardinals are down, and let's say they don't make the playoffs, they still go 87 and 75. It's very rarely that you ever see the Cardinals at 500 or way below 500. That's because they've had a formula. It's always worked, and that's what they do. The only reason I picked them this year, because like I said, when it comes to the Dodgers, we all know how hard it is to repeat as a champ in whatever sport it is. I looked at some of the other teams, and I just sort of liked what the Cardinals did, and they just always, each and every year, they may not go on to the World Series, they may not make a NLCS, they always seem to be there the very last week of the season. And as a fan, that's sure as hell what I would want. So I've been following baseball more and more since I've become involved with the show, and the Juru's got my juices flowing because we're always talking back and forth on messaging and stuff like that. Just talking about, well, that sucked. The guy was on second base and they just wasted an opportunity there. So it's got my juices flowing a little bit, even though I'm more of an old school baseball guy. It's just interesting to see how the season plays out. Just like, I picked the Oakland A's from the American League. They started off horrible. Now they're leading their division, looking like one of the best teams in the American League right now. So and Sherm, baseball season, it's the ebbs and the flows. It's in the ups and the downs. And, and the 1 year, and, this will just date my age. The 1 year in baseball that I swore to myself I will never say ever, or never say never ever again. Do you remember when the Boston Red Sox led the Yankees in the division by like 12, whatever it was? And the Yankees came back and they finished with the same record, and the Yankees took them out in that playoff game. That one elimination, and that's when I told myself I will never say never ever again. Who the hell knows? Maybe the Marlins will go on a 13-game winning streak. I don't know. It's just you just never know. So, yeah, as far as the Cardinals goes, they're just one of those stable organizations that they just always seem to do the right thing.
Yeah, that's true. Listen, I want to bring up, and I don't know if Sherman wants to chime in on this one or not, but we talked about, and thank you, Dark Sage 9117 for the comment. We do appreciate it. And by all means, please come back and check out the show. But I won't say at this point here, if you guys remember, who did Tony La Russa used to coach for? Okay,
The Cardinals.
Exactly. And if you look at the Cardinals, I just had it up here, and here it is, right? Cardinals are up by 2 games in our division. Oh, and by the way, the producers team, the Chicago White Sox, they're also in first place by a game. By who? Tony La Russa. And I tell you what, it looks like the White Sox picked up from where they left off last year, which is pretty good, at least as far as my book. I know I follow them a lot because in the studio here we have the multiple monitors, the TVs, and everything else. So there's always some sort of game or something else going on at during both the Phillies and the White Sox. So it's good to see that Tony La Russa, which at first we're kind of like, can he do it? But he's been holding his ground. He's been holding his own. And the Chicago White Sox are in first place and not bad whatsoever. So, Sherman, I don't know how you end up feeling as far as when it comes to La Russa and what he did as far as when it came to the Cardinals.
Well, I mean, La Russa, anywhere that he's gone, he's had success, right? Back with the Bash brothers, McGuire and Canseco, I believe that La Russa was the manager of that team back in the late 80s, early 90s, and he had success with the St. Louis Cardinals. I think he's a little old at this point, but hey, facts are facts. If the White Sox are winning the division right now, he must be doing something right. I think the biggest surprise would be that the Minnesota Twins right now are in dead last in that division. But look, it's a 162-game season, so we'll see what happens. Tides can definitely turn. It's pretty amazing that for Broad Street South, we've actually taken a lot of time to talk about these other teams and not even about the Philadelphia Phillies. And the Phillies, look, give credit to them with all the injuries that they have right now to
right.
Harper and Kingery and Real Muto and anybody else that you want to throw in there. They're staying competitive at this point, so kudos to them. I've said multiple times on this show that I am not the biggest fan of Girardi, and I will continue to say that because there's a lot of moves that he makes that I question and I don't agree with. But the bottom line is facts are facts. The Phillies are, I believe, in second place right now, less than 2 games out of first. I think they're actually a game out of first right now. So, hopefully they can keep it up. And I know that Segura and Girardi had a little scuffle in the dugout there on Sunday. Hopefully they'll be able to resolve those differences because Segura seems to be one of the most consistent hitters on the team. And if the Phillies are going to make a deep run and get into the playoffs, they're certainly going to need his bat.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'm going to just answer Joey's question here because you put down there, am I rooting, I guess, for the Tampa Bay Lightning? Now, do not anyone hold it against me because, again, I love my Flyers. But last year it was gifted. It was gifted to me, right? Maybe just a little promo talk, but it was gifted to me. So, yeah, I think the Stanley Cup champs have a good shot of going back. Is it going to be against Colorado? We've yet to see. I would find it interesting, but they have to get through Florida first. I know that tonight at the Amalie Arena, they were selling $10 tickets to go inside the view, and they let up to 7,000 fans to go in there and watch the distant thunder, as they like to call them, the fans, while they're playing down in Miami, and they'll be back this weekend. They'll be back home this weekend. But there's a lot of fans down there at the Amalie Arena. So I think Tampa Bay makes a good, strong case to repeat as Stanley Cup champs, but they got to go through the Panthers first. And the Panthers and Tampa Bay game 1, it was action from beginning to end, and I wouldn't expect anything less when it comes tonight to Stanley. So, Joe, yeah, but it'd be interesting to see Colorado and Tampa Bay. That would be great. as far as see it, but we'll see how our Canadian friends do out there on the West Coast.
Angel, let me just add to what Sherman was saying about the Phillies and Girardi and stuff like that. When I saw the incident with Segura, Sherm, you know this. You know, when we were little, managers like Earl Weaver, Chuck Tanner, if you didn't go all out all game long, you were going to hear it. No, he didn't care if you were they didn't care if you were a superstar. They didn't care if you were a sub. They didn't care. And, you know, when they showed us some of the highlights of why, like, maybe Girardi was a little upset, you know, the one play, let's be honest, Segura tried to get cute. He really did on that one play. And I think that's what set Girardi off a little bit. And if you're going to try and get cute with a hard-ass manager, it's not going to work, man. You might be able to get away with it with some other managers, but, you know, and that's what I flash back to. Like, I remember Earl Weaver, and you remember Billy Martin, and, you know, some of the older time managers. I mean, if you didn't give 100% maximum effort every single play for 9 innings, you weren't going to cut it. You were just going to hear about it. So, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to add to that, because I don't think Girardi's losing the clubhouse or whatnot, but no. I just think that, you know, again, like back in the day when we played and stuff like that, you know, if my coach saw me half-assing a catch on a pass, or I didn't run the right route, or I was lazy on it, guess where my butt was? It was on the bench.
And, you know, Ryan, this cycles back to the NBA that we were talking about, right? So how much load management happens? Back in our day, load management never would have happened. If these athletes are supposed to be bigger and stronger and getting paid a lot more money, then the question becomes, shouldn't they be busting their behinds on the court 72 or 82 games a season? Or, as I'm sure that Nick is thinking this right now, well, what do you want? Do you want Embiid putting up 30 and 10 against a team like the Charlotte Hornets? Or do you want Embiid putting up 30 and 10 in the playoff series against the Brooklyn Nets or the Milwaukee Bucks or the Miami Heat? So it really brings up an interesting question. But, Ryan, you're right. And just for the fans who were listening, Earl Weaver was the manager of the Baltimore Orioles back in the late 70s, and Chuck Tanner was the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates back in the late 70s, just for those of you who don't know your baseball as well as Mr. Ryan Neff down there. But it really – no, seriously, but it really brings up an interesting question in regards to load management. Maybe we'll have another show discussing the whole concept of load management and should it happen or should it not happen. Well, personally, I want to see people giving 100% every single night. And if that means that they don't end up winning a championship, they don't end up winning a championship, because I think that the athletes, it's their responsibility to give 100% every night.
Well, and a week and a half ago when we were talking about the 17-game NFL schedule, you know, and I talked about load management, Joe DeCamara sort of like poo-pooed it a little bit because he didn't think it would become a big issue this year. Yet when the schedule came out last week and they were showing the different games, you know, this and everything was set, there was a lot of discussion amongst, you know, all the ESPN and the NFL Network. The big issue was load management. What's going to happen when you get late in the season, you know, even after your bye week when you get the rest? But let's say you get late in the season, you're winning the division by 3 games or whatnot. Let's say it's like week 13 or 14. You already know what's going to happen. I'm just throwing it out there now. You already know that guys are going to come up with BS injuries, or, you know, we'll give this guy the extra rest, especially if, let's say, the Chiefs are playing, I don't know, some bottom tier team at the time. You know it's going to happen. It's just going to happen. And I'm with you, Sherm. You know, load management, I don't even know what the hell that means. I can't even grasp my head around it, because if I'm getting paid that kind of money and I love the sport that I'm playing and I have every opportunity to play, if there's an 82-game schedule, unless I have a broken leg or unless I have some serious injury or unless I'm 6 feet under, I'm playing every single damn game. You heard Seth Joyner talk about it last week. The man had the flu, a fever. You are not taking me out of the game. I'm playing. Some of the former athletes, load management, they're like, yeah, load management. It just doesn't compute. It just doesn't compute. But the higher the contracts have gone, you know what, man, I got a hangnail on my shooting hand, and I got to get this taken care of. So I'm going to miss the next couple games. So, yeah, I can't wrap my head around it. And I see Nick laughing and then we go back to the other thing about like hard-ass coaches and stuff like that. Nick, what do you think would happen to starter at Clemson if Dabo Swinney saw a half-ass effort for 2 plays in a row? You know where he's going to be? Exactly.
No, go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I was going to say you guys bring up an interesting point with load management, but I personally I dislike it when you're a fan buying a ticket and you want to go see a guy live, and he says, you know what, Tuesday in Memphis, I'm sitting in. I don't like that. I think that part it stinks. But like right now when we don't have fans and when fans can't come in, I don't necessarily see a problem with the guy saying, hey, you know what, I'm gonna rest. I think it'll help me a couple weeks down the line. And I think in a lot of cases it's true, because we watched Harden come up the last couple of years, and he gets gassed by playoffs. Same with Russell Westbrook, and those guys play all 82 games in a season. So I think load management is definitely something that could be fixed. And I think even like the primetime games, a lot of guys load manage. But I think there's definitely a way it can improve. But I like the idea overall.
It's certainly the classic delay of gratification. But this goes back to why I think that Aaron Nola is not an ace. If you're an ace, you throw 130 pitches a night. You go that extra inning. But that'll be saved for another show.
Yep, then it will be. And Nick, by the way, speaking of load management, Nick, what are the odds that your boy Trevor Lawrence throws a touchdown pass to Tebow in preseason or the regular season?
Well, so I'm curious, if Tebow starts at tight end, I'll give it 100%. But I don't think he's going to start. I don't think Tebow's going to start at tight end. I know Trevor's going to start at quarterback. I'd love to see a read option with Trevor Lawrence and Tebow in the backfield. I think that would be a great play, or a Philly special for Trevor Lawrence in the end zone from Tim Tebow. But I'm very curious to see how Urban Meyer is going to end up using Tebow this season, if he uses him at all.
We shall see. We got a couple minutes here left before the show goes off here, and there was couple of comments I want to bring back as Pataki likes to say. We'll circle back here momentarily. Joel Embiid, his former coach from Kansas, he stated, I don't think we set any goals for him except for just trying to get him against his ceiling. But his ceiling changed. His ceiling in November wasn't the same as it was in December or in January or in February. And that's a great comment by Coach Self there. And one by Doc Rivers where he says there's a higher ceiling for him. I can't tell you that. If he reaches that, goodbye league. I don't know how you could deal with him on a daily basis. No one can deal with him now. If there's a higher place that he can go, I believe that there is, then watch out, because it's going to be quite amazing to watch there. So that's, which is true. I mean, and obviously the Sixers here finished out on a high note, 120-117 over Orlando. Listen, I believe the boys are going to do just fine. One thing that I didn't mention beforehand, as our brilliant beat writer there, Nick, and by the way, Nick's article will be going up at least by the end of this week. My IT guy that we have, he's been getting things taken care of, so we'll make sure it's up there this week. And Nick, by the way, I did share your podcast with Spikeball Incorporated, so we'll see what happens there. So just saying, and by the way, just so everyone knows, as we're talking different things on load management and everything else, as far as when it comes to analytics. So you see this beautiful pen that I'm holding in my hand right now. If you want wonderful stats, absolutely amazing analytics, the guy right above me here, future prospects, future hires, future companies, Nick Lisi. Okay, Nicholas Lisi, look for him everywhere, social media. Find him, hire him. Is a great kid. And if you don't believe me, look at his second article on broadstreetsouth.com, broadstsouth.com. I'm not kidding. An absolute phenomenal article. So, Nick, hopefully, we're trying to plug you in some more here. As
I'm
much.
glad he's the analytics expert, because as far as analytics go,
But I want to get what I see a comment popping in here. Joey says, Sherm, who will replace Coach K? Look, let's not go there. We're not thinking about that right now. So we'll scratch that one from the show, but no. He asked Sherman, who will replace Coach K when that time comes around?
I think an interesting choice would be Grant Hill. But yeah, I would have to take some time to think about that. But Grant Hill, he had success at Duke. He had some success in the NBA, and I know he's, behind the mic right now. But, if he had the opportunity to coach at his alma mater at Duke University, I think that he would definitely try to, dip his toe in the water and try that out. But, there's a lot of other famous players who have played at Duke as well, so it'll be interesting to see. I think Coach K still has a few years left. It's amazing that hair isn't, turning gray yet. Must be some pretty good dye that he's using there.
I think so. Who knows? But I want to bring up a clip here as we're getting ready to close out the show. And it's just because Tyrese Maxey had such a great year that I think he's well deserving of this highlight that the Sixers put together. So I want to show this. And Thursday, we'll get into it. By the way, Thursday show coming up. And as much as we like to goof around with Sean Salisbury, and he's been going back and forth with us on Twitter between Fuji and myself, this Thursday, Sean Salisbury from Sean Salisbury Unfiltered, from the Sean Salisbury Show, will be on with us this Thursday live at 7:30. He has graced us enough with at least a good 20 minutes. We'll see if maybe we can push it to 21. I don't know, but I don't want to ruin it too much. But Sean Salisbury will be on this Thursday. And then this Friday, if you guys want to go back in time and have some good nostalgic moments, we'll be talking about your championship teams and where were you at the time you won and the team won their championship. So that will be this Friday, and that show starts a little bit later on. It starts about 9:30 on Friday night. So 7:30, Sean Salisbury on Thursday, Chris Sack Friday at 9:30. It will be bonus show week for everyone because normally Tuesday nights we're in the studio all together and recording our audio podcast. So this was definitely a bonus show. So I'm going to show this one here with Tyrese Maxey, and then I also want to follow that one up with the great Dwight Howard because he was waiting for his Frosty.
It'd be nice to see Furkan get some rhythm here in this game. And streaking down the floor and scoring Tyrese Maxey. We know as a starter he can score. Had that career-high 39 back in January.
Fundamentally sound with a little bit of toughness added on.
Tyrese Maxey, I dare say, and I don't have the stats in front of me, but recently much better three-point shooting.
I think if you're like 15 feet away, he was more like 4 feet away. But had to clear those long outstretched arms.
Minutes to play here in the first.
He hasn't driven in the last couple. He's allowed other guys to set him up for shots.
You can count that for Maxey. Talking before about Dennis Rodman and Bobby Jones has another three there from Tyrese Maxey in the G League.
Is he? Good for him.
Helping to administer player programs.
Good for him. Dennis Scott also from Oak Hill Academy.
There you go.
Why he was able to pause for a second and then attack once he saw an opening like that.
I'll tell you what, Maxey, what a great change of pace en route to the hoop. I mean, that little head fake.
Not wasting the chance here tonight either, Mark.
Well, now he's got Bamba, and guess what? Indeed, he took him off the dribble. Give him 22, 9 for 9 from the floor.
They're the coach out on the floor, so again, he's engaged.
Maxey got it with 0.2 of a second to go.
That's the same line as it is in this league, so there is no difference.
Maxey, boy, and Anthony was trying to foul him on the way by, perhaps never got enough.
There's Isaiah to Tyrese. There's where the foul occurs. And perhaps some of the magic even. Look at the Korkmaz three again. Brasdikas late getting to him.
Wrong.
Pretty amazing by Tyrese Maxey. And I'm sorry, Ryan, did we wake you from your nap?
No, I'm trying to figure out what the hockey scores are because one started at 7, the other one started at 8, or one started at 7:30, one started at 8, and I'm just trying to find updates because there's one on at 10 o'clock too, I believe.
Yeah, I
make
think
it to
so.
the Vegas Golden Knights and the Minnesota Wild. They're on at 10 o'clock, I believe, tonight. So NHL playoffs, my man. I'm a college football fan. I'm an NFL fan. Those are my two tops. But when it comes to the playoffs, there's no better playoffs in the United States or Canada.
Penguins up 2-0 end of the first period. Lightning Panthers 0-0, 16:32 left in the first period. And the Canucks beat the Flames 4-2.
Now, the reason why I say if he was put to sleep, because maybe this little frosty video for Wendy's, you're welcome for the free plug, is courtesy of Dwight Howard. And he ended up getting his Frosty. So Dwight Howard, the funny thing is everybody says that Dwight is one of us here in Philly, and he's really taken on the city and embraced it. So this would be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic if the Sixers can make it to the finals. And once again, thanks to Nick being in his bed, I will say it for one final time that we will put the Nets to bed.
We'll see. And Monte Cristo, feel free to shoot me some cigars, win or lose. I won't be having any of them, but feel free to shoot me some.
There you go. So now to bring up, speaking of Monte Cristo, of course, you guys can all see us on BroadStreetSouth.com. As you scroll down there, you will see the entire gang here live. You also will be able to click onto the links here on the right-hand side where you can go to our partners at Goose's Monte Cristo Lounge and Tobacconist, Fans of Philly, the official sponsor of BroadStreetSouth.com, and Lifestyle Media, who those guys have a lot of fun. And by the way, Kim and Corey just put out one this week with the Pronfell Foundation there as far as their video. So check that one out as well. You can follow us as well on Broad Street South Podcast on Twitter, and the last place to mention here on Facebook under Broad Street South. And make sure, look at that good-looking guy there in the background here. Not me, but look at this guy right here, Mr. Sharp, Mr. Showcase himself. There he is. So by all means, follow that. And don't forget also to go to our partner's website, cigargoose.com. That is cigargoose.com. Check them out. Find the finest stogies in the world. Nowhere else but back home in the Delaware Valley, cigargoose.com. Goose, I'm going to bring up your comment as well because I did see it earlier. I'm sorry. Let me scroll back up here. Joey B has been a lot of fun. Thank you again to Dark Sage. Goose. I just saw it. Where did I lose it? I lost it. Where is it? Here it is. An honor to be a part of the Broad Street South team. And believe me, we are honored as well, Goose. Thank you so much. And let me show the studio is not quite done yet, but I will show everybody kind of hear a preview of what it looks like. And right where Robert is where the producer's chair will pretty much end up being. But we have 4 microphones that are going to be back there, 4 different cameras set up. It's going to be a heck of a time with a live studio audience out there at Goose's studio. I'm just going to name it Goose's studio. It makes it just that much more better. So at Goose's studio, find your finest Monte Cristo, your finest vape. Go out there, grab it, smoke it, and if you do, please, by the way, can you just take it away from the professor? Don't blow it towards the professor's way. We're trying to make sure that we keep the professor for many years. So please, do not blow smoke his way. Other smoke you can to have fun with him, but not that kind of smoke because we don't need the professor getting sick. So we'd appreciate that. Plus, we need him back in the Philly school system. So I'm pretty sure that want to make sure he's fine. So anyways, thank you to everyone. Thank you to Goose. Again, fans of Philly, we thank you. And the Vegas show or the Vegas road game is sold out, but you can still go to Carolina, out to Denver. And there was one more I wanted to mention. I mentioned earlier. I completely forgot now. But
Atlanta?
Atlanta? Yep,
Yeah.
Atlanta as well. So don't forget about that one too. So listen, guys. Thank you so much. And we're sorry with Diaz earlier. I know he had technical difficulties. It's a shame, but maybe we'll get him on a different show because the playoffs are just starting to begin. So I'm pretty sure we can arrange something again. And maybe we can have him over at the studio, down at Goose's studio, and we'll do a live shot from there. So who knows? Hey, we'll make sure we get the things worked out. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for a great show tonight. Normally we would be in the studio all together talking about our audio podcast, but we do appreciate it. Nick, I know pretty soon you're going to be starting your new gig. I don't know if you want to mention or not, but I know you'll be heading back to Clemson here very shortly.
Yes, sure. So actually, Monday, I have a sports internship with a company called Sponsor United. So I started my orientation with them on Monday. Super excited for that. And in about a month's time, I'll be back at Clemson University. I'm going to be helping freshmen like myself. Me just a year ago, I'm going to help those kids transition into the Clemson life and congratulate them on getting into Clemson University and welcome them into college. So I'm super happy, super excited, and I'll be doing all my pods from there from now on. So can't wait.
No, congratulations. And by the way, I heard the most ridiculous, and as if we don't hear enough ridiculous things in this world, I heard the most ridiculous thing. I'm not even going to mention where it came from, but now they don't want to, because we live in a butthurt society, folks. It's just the way it is. I don't get it. I don't understand it. So now, God forbid, for college, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, no. Now it's first year, second year, third year, fourth year. Does it really matter, truthfully? I think when you go to college, the one of those things, like when you went to high school, I'm a freshman in high school, but when you get to college, obviously it's kind of like, a next level up, but I can't believe they 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just, Lord, the society that we live in. But anyways.
And I will say I'm very, very excited. And I'm going to direct this toward my adopted radio son, online son, Nick Leafy. Nick, do you know what Thursday is?
This Thursday?
Yep.
I don't think so.
You can start the clock, ladies and gentlemen, because we're 100 days from college football season, my friend. So hit that buzzer, and you might as well set the clock. It's the 100-day countdown of college football, August 28th, 2021. This is when I start to get excited because I know we're in the home stretch. I love summer to death, but I can't wait till it's over either because then it's football and the fall, and let the countdown start.
Right now, I have to do this one justice because this is one of my favorite moments of the show. So in the Super Spotlight, because it's my favorite time of the show, someone's boutique is about to come up.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to do the plug. So my wife, she runs an online boutique, and the name of the boutique is burksboutique.com. Now, what she sells is women's clothing. So if you are listening to the show and you're a female and you're interested in women's clothing, check it out. If you're a man, you're listening to the show, and maybe you have a sister, a girlfriend, a wife, a daughter, or somebody else who's interested in women's clothing, check it out. The website is burksboutique.com, BURKESBOUTIQUE.com. That's BURKESBOUTIQUE.com. Thank you so much for the plug.
See, that's why it's my favorite time because it comes out so fast and he can do it. One of these days, I just want to do something like, just throw something up in the air to see if it'll throw off Sherman. But thank you, Sherman. Thank you to Barbara. Again, thanks to everyone who tuned in tonight. We do appreciate it. Thursday, don't forget, Sean Salisbury will be on with us. And if you guys don't remember, and I don't know, you know what, for Ducky, I'm wondering, Ryan, Ducky, did you watch the movie Benchwarmers?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, boy. Okay, well, then forget it. Okay, so your assignment between here and Thursday is to watch the movie Benchwarmers, and then you'll see who Sean Salisbury is. Other than being an NFL player, but you will see who Sean Salisbury is.
All right, sounds good. I can't wait to have him on.
Hey, don't forget, shout out to the woman behind the scenes.
Right.
Angel?
Yeah, Debbie, the producer behind the scenes here, always doing a fantastic job. And she always sits in the other room. So the studio's so big here that we just can't put it in one room. We got 2 rooms. So she's out there not only producing the show, but also keeping me in contact here through the earpiece of what's going on in the sports world. So fantastic job. There you go, Ryan. And a shout out to your friend as well, as we thank her for tuning in. We see her there in the background. It looks like a refrigerator of some sort. So thanks to Frigidaire for tuning in. No, I'm kidding. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will catch everyone again on Thursday. Sean Salisbury live, 7:30. Friday, we will have Chris Sack with us, and we're talking about nostalgia moments. I tried to squeeze in Hollis Thomas, but he was busy doing other things. But it's okay because I'm pretty sure we can get him later on. So thank you, everyone who watched the show. We do appreciate it. We hope that everyone has a good night as I look around here to the ending saga. We hope that everyone has a great night. We will see everyone Thursday live at 7:30. Have a great night, everyone.